Hello, good evening. Welcome to Ideas on Point, presented to you by TC San. Today is Thursday, so today's episode will once again be with my husband, Pavan Elapavuluri, and the segment for today, we call it Ghar ki Murgi Dal Barabar, and that's the reason why we're late today as well, because Ghar ki Murgi Dal Barabar. We're late by 7 minutes because we're trying a new camera. I share everything with you guys. So we're trying a new camera in studio, and let me know in comments or text messages or PMs. Let me know how this looks. Does it look better than the one before? Is the audio quality better than the one that we were using before? Let me know. All right, so I'm going to bring Pavan to screen. We're not going to do any big intro because he needs no introduction anymore. Hi, Pavan. Maybe you need to turn your mic on, sorry.
As they say in Urdu, आप किसी तारीफ का मोहताज नहीं है.
I'm not wearing headphones today. Did you notice that? I don't know what I'm doing with my headphones. No more crutches.
Yeah, we can see how beautiful your hair is.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Usually I hide my headphones in my hair. I try to pretend, but I like having the comfort of headphones though, because I don't hear any outside noise. So it just feels that I'm in that one-to-one conversation with whoever I'm speaking to. So I really enjoy having headphones, but hey.
Yeah, at least I will not be in your ears for a change.
You will not. Which is a good thing. All right, but anyone who's watching, please leave us comments down below, and please do hit that like button. Hit that like button now. Hit it.
Smash it.
Smash the like button. Smash the subscribe button. Sonia says, wow, the Urdu is kicking in already. You've got a lot of Urdu fans, by the way. A lot of people love your Urdu. But coming to the topic of today, we're going to talk about lockdowns, which we're going into another one now on December 13th. It is, I don't know what to say about it anymore, because when it first started, I really enjoyed the fact that we're staying at home. We don't have to go anywhere, and we can pick up our groceries at the door. We don't have to go into the store to do groceries. So it was really fun for me at the time. Like, it's fantastic. But now at this time, like after months and months of it, we're going back into lockdown. I don't know what to say about it. I don't know how to feel about it. So let's start. I announced today that we're going to talk about the economics behind this lockdown. So there has been a very strong debate whether the lockdown should be in place or whether it should not be in place. A lot of people, of course, are pro-lockdown because it will help control the spread of COVID. And a lot of people are against lockdowns because it means it's going to impact businesses in a negative manner.
Yeah, and for me, this started with this idea of I was watching the India-Australia cricket, and I also was watching NFL, and there is such a big stark difference in these games. Is in the India-Australia game, the stadiums were full of people. There were a lot of people in the games, and if you watch NFL, the stadiums were empty. These stadiums are at least 70 to 80,000 people. And you see this, and you can hear people comments like, oh yeah, see how Australia is enjoying their life and their parties are back, concerts are back, cricket is back. While in America, the NFL, which is like a religion in both countries, cricket and NFL here, like you are not able to go and have a football game. So everyone and people in favor of lockdowns started commenting on that. And the history is Australia had one of the most severe lockdowns over their winter, which is our summer, so southern hemisphere. So they had a very very strict lockdown. So the whole idea was, if we had implemented the same lockdown in, say, other countries. Let's talk about Canada. Like maybe in America, we can't really comment, but in Canada, like let's say we had a very strict lockdown, we would be going back to having our fall hockey games, taking kids to hockey practice, everything. Our life would have been back to normal. and you could see me saying that, well, that's not so simple. So that's why maybe we should talk a bit and take a little bit of a deep dive. I don't think you like taking deep dives into this um, very dense subjects, but we should talk about what is what, like what did Australia do, and the good thing is we have a Australia case in front of us, New Zealand's case in front of us, and we can pass through and what did they do, and what are the effects of it.
Yeah,
And
so let's talk about it. So New Zealand right now, they don't. Do they have cases? Do they have COVID?
no, they said
No,
that
they don't
zero
have.
cases.
They're COVID free,
Hmm.
and Australia is claiming the same.
Yeah.
And there, what about international travel into Australia and New Zealand?
It's
They allow
very,
it?
very tight. So they have to
Mhm.
quarantine in government required facilities. And so,
Mhm.
as an aside, Pakistani cricket team was in New Zealand to play a game. They were tested twice before going to New Zealand. When they were in New Zealand, and they were tested positive. All of the team tested positive in New Zealand, and then
What?
yeah, they tested twice before getting onto the plane in in Pakistan, and then
So
so.
sometimes it doesn't show up right away too, right? So it takes time for
Yeah,
them.
but they were tested twice. So and then they broke quarantine, it seems. So that tells you that there is a very strict quarantine regime for international travels. So it's
Mhm.
like they even said that there is military guarding these hotels.
Yeah, I remember some people in New Zealand. There was a news story about two girls who jumped the barbed fence to break this quarantine. So it's pretty
Yeah.
much like a jail.
Yeah, and
So let's.
Pakistani players apparently broke the quarantine too. I don't know whether they jumped the.
When you go to New Zealand, you've got a party. So in Australia and in New Zealand,
Yeah.
what was the lockdown like in their winter
Yeah,
months? It
so
was 4 weeks long.
oh no, no, yeah, it gets like there is this as they say is that the proof is in the pudding. Like so, what happened was it started the same time in early spring, like in March, where
In
everything
March.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then they started easing into restrictions like everywhere in the world, but then
Mhm.
in somewhere in June or something, the cases started rising, and then they
Mhm.
said that let's start a, and they wanted to do a lockdown. I will get into bit economics of it, but they went 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then 8 weeks. And then there was a gradual release. There is like a 2 meter exclusion zone, like a 2 meter square. So you can't move 2 meter square from your house or something. And then there was and then there was strict neighborhood controls. So if you live in your neighborhood, you can't really. So let's say in Panorama Hills, you couldn't go more than superstore. That's it. You can just go up to Harvest Hill superstore, like maybe 2 kilometers or
Mhm.
3 kilometers. So that's how restrictive the measures were for a couple of months. And now, and so they started slowly um, reducing these restrictions, lifting these restrictions. Say their spring, which was September, October.
Mhm.
And now they're saying that we are the Boxing Day cricket match is a very big deal, very big deal for Australia. So there is always a Boxing Day cricket match. It's usually held in Sydney, Sydney cricket ground. It's going to be a full. India is playing Australia a Boxing Day cricket match. Usually every other year it England plays. So. Uh,
Mhm.
and this year Boxing Day cricket match is India Australia, and it's going to be a full cricket stadium. It seems 80,000 people.
Mhm.
So
I keep seeing like we see the protests, the Kisan rallies all over the world, and
mm,
then, of course we're wearing masks in Calgary, we're wearing masks in all over the United States and Europe. You see people are wearing masks, and then you see some rally in New Zealand, or you see a rally in Australia, and no one's wearing a mask, and it's such a strange. It
yeah,
doesn't feel
so
real. It's like what.
what price did they pay for it? That's the
That's the good
question.
question. That's the
Yeah.
next question after. And of course, Sweden didn't do any of that. Sweden did.
No, yeah.
It's a completely on the other end, on the other
Yeah.
extreme. Where they
So
chose not to do
they
any.
chased herd immunity, and then they're like taking a big hit for it. So on one end, you have this Sweden model where they say that we will let we will let the virus go through our society. Yeah, well, virus has to infect everyone. Either you get infected or you get vaccinated. Either way, you
Mhm.
have to go through this
You
process.
have to have the immunity. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have immunity. Uh, so, but Sweden said that let's get to herd immunity. In a herd immunity, it's the epidemiologist says that 60% of the people have to be immune. So then you reach a herd immunity. Then you infecting the other 40 becomes the probability of you coming to other probability is very less. So in
Mhm.
Australia, coming down to it, so they imposed and then the economists there, the big economic think tanks there came up with this idea of hibernating economy, hibernation
Mhm.
of economy. So there is an idea say that the economy should be put into a freezer,
Mhm.
and then the whole society should just stay at homes. The economy is just staying in the freezer, and then when their summer, so their summer is this, so when the summer comes, we will thaw this economy and the economy will get kickstarted. That was this idea. But there is no, you can't really put, economy is not like a, well, there is a bear and an economy, right? Like a bear, your bearish economy, a bear getting into hibernation. It's not a simple animal you can put it into a freezer. It is a very, very complex system of many different things. It's
Mhm.
many wheels turning, many other wheels, and then there are big macroeconomic factors, microeconomic factors coming into it. And then that was the whole idea. Then it comes to like what we talked about, what's the central bank role in Australia and everything. So that was the idea which they went back, hibernating the economy. So they put, practically that's what they did, they put the economy in freezer, and there are huge consequences to it.
And what are those consequences? Let's dive into them a little bit.
Yeah, so the huge consequences is, the big consequence is like the small businesses,
Mhm.
so they said that we will force, the central bank said that they're going to force the banks to open up their renegotiate their mortgages, loans with very favorable terms. So they released some $900 billion at a quarter percent, 0.25% interest rate. So they force these banks, the central bank of Australia force these small banks to be very almost distributed cash for free
Mhm.
to small businesses so that they have to keep their doors shut.
Mhm.
So that's what happened. But
Doors
they,
open. Oh no, doors shut.
doors shut.
So they survive the economic lockdown.
Yeah, that was
They
the whole
survive.
idea.
Mhm.
But everyone is like, oh, wonderful, we will just keep shut. But they're on a very fixed income, they don't know what they're doing. And but the big businesses, while I don't know what the big stores are, like the Walmarts and Costco's and Targets of Australia, while they were open, so
Mhm.
they started eating into the small businesses cake. So the pie for the small businesses got smaller and smaller, while the because once you get it used to a big store, they will reel you into it, the convenience of it, the the whole easiness of it, the parking, everything. They make it so easy to come and shop. So that's what happened. The small businesses got really, really heavily hit. And
Mhm.
that's what Kenny said that too. Kenny said that, he said that on the other day I was listening to it. He said that I made a huge mistake on the first lockdown because he went and spoke to a central Alberta, uh, central Alberta, like a hardware shop. There are so many small hardware shops in small towns in Alberta, and he spoke to them, and he said that you shut us down, but the big hardware stores are open.
Mhm.
So they lost their customer base. It's all about loyalty, right? Your loyalty about contractors coming and buying. It's all about it. And they lost these customers, and
Mhm.
they all went to the big store. So these guys lost their business, and Kenny was very, very sad about it. He said that,
Oh. Okay, no, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying that at least he was saying that he
Kenny expressed sadness about it. Let's just say.
expressed like, oh yeah, you are editorializing my oh, your red pen of an editor come like, oh, you can't put emotion into something. Hard facts here.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny was sad. Well, you don't know. He
Yeah.
expressed
Oh,
that he was sad.
yeah. So this is, yeah, that's the small businesses in a lockdown. That's where the big impact is.
See, I mean, of course, when the lockdown happened here as well, your superstores open, your big stores are still open
Mm,
because they have those, I mean, they have groceries, so essential goods, and they need to keep those big stores open for that.
mm,
And if
mm,
the big store's open, if I'm going to a small store to purchase, let's say, Tupperware. I don't
mm.
know, like just something that I don't essentially need. I might go to a small store to purchase that, but now I'm doing that from a bigger store.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's and
That
maybe my shopping habits may evolve. Maybe I'll just start ordering online because I'll realize, oh, it's so much easier
exactly.
to just order this online, and I can go to a bigger store and pick that up. But my question is, does let's say the lockdown is just for 4 to 6 weeks, does that impact shopping habits that quickly?
Yes, that's what the economists have been studying, and not only the shopping habits, the earning capacity, the earning habits, like people trying to go and get a job and to do it, that is also changing because people it's they're depending more on governments. Like we should get a government subsidy, government subsistence.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also changing, and that changes your shopping habits too. And so you would go and find a, rather than going and supporting local, which may be a bit more expensive, you would go and find something which at a big box store to do it.
But isn't that capitalism? Isn't that how
Yeah, but
eventually,
capitalism,
whether if there is a lockdown or not, no lockdown, like eventually we're
yeah,
gonna
but
need to
if
live
the,
on.
the
Eventually, we're gonna need
capitalism was
to.
the same last December too, right? These were existing. They had their own niches. Like your superstore had its niches, and an organic store has its niches. Like there were people buying at two different places with two different clientele. They were surviving. The only thing which came and destabilized this arrangement was a government coming and establishing and said that, oh, you guys shut down, but these guys stay up. Like the government came and enforced these rules arbitrarily. That's the
Mhm.
only thing. That's the only thing it changed in this scenario. And in Australia, they saw that. So now the economy is out of the freezer, right? Now it will, according to these economists, all you need to do is thaw it, and then it's like it's a spring chicken. It's like running around, but it's not.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand this comment. There's nothing wrong with CPA. Sorry. Yeah, Malik, if you can elaborate on that, please. Sorry, Pavan, go ahead.
Yeah, so the economy should start. So now they're seeing that the economy, people are not hiring as many full-time positions. They are hiring part-time positions because they figured out how to survive with part-time positions, and then they can hire them, or like they can give them smaller hours, lesser hours, and things like that. So if you look at the part-time jobs at before the lockdown, they were almost very, maybe few percentages less or more, they were very similar. But when you see during lockdown, the full-time jobs remained the same, but
Mm-hmm.
the part-time jobs collapsed, and then they almost reached,
What's the reason for that?
because full-time jobs, government came and paid the full-time job salaries, and then the full-time jobs remained and the part-time jobs collapsed, and then the full-time jobs started meeting at some point at now part-time jobs have raised quite a high above full-time jobs now. So people are hiring more part-time jobs than full-time jobs. So as a such, your economy, the economy is contracting, and which everyone has predicted. So that
Mm-hmm.
was a big change, that your shopping habits have changed considerably. You are not spending so much, and then your part-time jobs have increased. So as a
You were talking about the subsidies, or you were talking about the government assistance to business owners for their employees,
mm,
which is happening in Canada as well.
mm,
Does that change? I wouldn't say shopping patterns in any respect. But
Oh,
does
that
that
does
change
change.
how people? Does that change how people do business? Does that change how people run small businesses in the long
Oh
term?
yeah, it does.
I
So
see that. I see that happening. But I'll
yeah,
let you comment on it.
there is a there in so the thing is, in economics, you spend not on what you earn, but what you think you will earn.
Mm-hmm.
So in Christmas you would say, oh, I will buy this and this because in January and February I will do this, and so you are not spending what you earn, but what you may earn, or what you think you should earn, or some futuristic
Mm-hmm.
potential. So, but here, when you are on a government assistance, there's no ambition there.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you are getting some n amount of dollars, you will be getting n amount of dollars in January and n amount of. There is no such thing as, oh, I will work and double the amount of time. I will get 2n amount of money and 3n amount of money,
It
and
counters the concept of capitalism.
yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
does. That's the whole idea. Here it is like a government is, and it has happened before. So government became very, very powerful after all of these big um, global tragedies or global upheavals. So after First World War in 1917, Canada didn't have an income tax during 1917 First World War, and Canada said that, oh, we are going to impose 20% a temporary income tax to for our rebuilding efforts. Temporary is so much temporary that we are still paying income tax after 120 years. So, and then the same thing happened all over the world. So, and then government became powerful after each. I'm sounding like a libertarian, but I'm not. I believe there is a role of a government in our lives.
I was going to mention, I was like, this is the second week in a row that you're mentioning the
But I'm not.
acting of bitcoins.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how government always wants to. So this is a big tug of war between the society and government, right? Government always wants to be more powerful, and society wants to be more freer. Society, there is this concept of social contract, and you sign a social contract with the government saying that if you provide this and this, I will let go of my personal freedoms, this and these many personal freedoms. And government wants to encroach onto your freedoms, while you, society, says that no, I don't want you to. There is this tug of war between, and that's where, and government always uses these tragedies or these moments of big upheaval to grab more of your personal freedoms. And this is, and we do need government assistance.
And this is where I think, going back to Kenny, is this is where I guess that conversation between personal freedoms, taking them away, or just keeping it as is, that, the
Yeah,
upheaval there,
so
the
that's the
balance,
that's the,
trying to make
that's
it.
the constant struggle. And when it comes to Australia was very, 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 I don't want to use the word draconian, but it's very strict rules. And then the people, um, both in New Zealand and Australia, had immense. And one of these things for government to succeed is people has to really, really trust their governments. And
Mhm.
it's very hard in these cynical times to trust governments. But in Australia and New Zealand, they did trust their government,
Yeah.
and then they let go of their personal freedoms, thinking that the government will has a better plan or will give you your personal freedoms back.
But was it worth it? Again, coming back to comparing
Yeah,
Sweden and
watching.
Australia.
Are you watching
Australia
cricket, or
is,
are you watch? They're watching cricket, right? They're watching cricket. They're going to clubs. They're
yeah,
going.
so it
They're
is worth
partying.
it. I mean, did it impact them economically? Yes, small businesses perhaps, but
Yes,
what
there
was
are.
the economic hit?
Oh, there, and then the jobs didn't come back. They're still paying a lot of social assistance to jobs, and they're calling it a new type of recovery called a K recovery. Okay, so the whole idea of
That's what we need to talk about. Okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
so the whole idea of this hibernating economy was, oh, once we defreeze or thaw our economy, we will have a V-shaped recovery. So we had an economy fall down, and as soon as the thaw happens here, you will bounce back like a really snapback economy. Well, lo and behold, that didn't happen. So what they had is a K-type recovery. So a K-type recovery is like a recovery like that, like like a not an
Mhm.
inverted V, but a V at a 90-degree angle. So your public sector jobs kept on going up, and private sector jobs kept on falling down. So private sector jobs didn't really recover, but public sector jobs, because government kept on paying their salaries, they never really so your economy is when you have a K-type recovery, something snaps, because your tax base falls, or you will enter into a big time contraction, and something happens. Like all the sectors in an economy have to grow together. When a K-type economy happens, the elasticity breaks in an economy, and then when it snaps, there would be a big recession. So that's what's happening in Australia. There is a K-type recovery, and the government is putting a lot of money into private sector, for the private sector to start spending and increasing the jobs, but it hasn't happened. So and people haven't and the other big thing, the young people who get in hospitality industry, travel industry, tourism, adventure, which is a big sector in Australia, it hasn't kickstarted yet. No one is traveling. Even they opened interprovincial travel or intercity travel, it hasn't really kickstarted it. So Australia, they are drinking a lot of beer and watching a lot of cricket, but economy, it's still the verdict is still out.
Let's talk about Sweden.
More than that, we should talk about Alberta.
I want to talk about Sweden. I want to know what's happening there.
Sweden is doing very poorly in medical. Like their cases have shot up quite badly. They're not doing quite well. So health is wealth, right?
If there is a lockdown, like there was in Australia, the economic health might suffer, but if the government is supporting them through the process, they will drink beer and watch cricket in 6 months. Okay?
Yeah.
But Australia on one end.
With government money. They're buying the beer and they're
government can print money. Government can print money. It can go to a mint and it can print money. So government will figure it out.
Yeah, that's right. So, it's like they don't have to mint any money. It's all, as I said, like it's all about a keystroke.
Yeah, it's about
$900 billion was generated overnight on a keystroke.
Exactly. So government can do that, and if government does that, that supports you, and then you go drink beer in 6 months and watch cricket. On the other hand, Sweden, it chooses not to do a lockdown, and it's letting its people acquire herd immunity, or that's the path they chose. So Sweden is suffering.
Their hospitalizations have increased quite a bit. They are reeling under huge. Their hospitals are breaking at their seams. They're really, really in a tough shape there in health.
So from where I sit, or where I'm sitting. So from where I sit, I see Sweden doing a lot better than Australia. Oh, sorry. I see Australia doing a lot better than Sweden. I'm sorry. Yeah, I would much rather have government assistance. I would much rather have government money as long as I have my health. And after all of this ends, hopefully things will.
Yeah, that's what it is. There is a lot of hope in that. You are putting a lot of hope in the
you kill people in Sweden, right? But people have like health issues for the rest of their life.
I agree. I'm not supporting Sweden at all. I think that's a very poor strategy. That is for sure. But in Australia case, there is a lot of hope that in that sauce. Like when people drank that Kool-Aid of hibernating economy, there was a lot of hope, as like more hope than Obama could ever imagine.
What was Obama's slogan in 2008?
Hope and something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hope, and more hope than. But in Sweden, when there is no health, there is no wealth. You have to enjoy your wealth, and you have to enjoy your Swedish coffee, Swedish. I don't know what they eat, but like all their IKEA furniture and everything. You only have health, so they're not doing very poorly. They're doing very poorly actually.
Hold up, I'm coming up with a really cool banner. I am going to put that up here, right underneath the. Yes, we can.
Oh. Yeah, so that's where Alberta's strategy is. I think they're trying to. So the uh, so there has to be a midway between letting
One
not
person has hope in you so far. Go ahead.
what.
One person has hope. Two people have hope in you. Yes, we can.
Yes,
Okay.
we can. Yeah. Oh boy. The
Uh,
Obama days. I remember in Houston, we were so overcome with that Obama mania. Like we really like we couldn't vote, but we really participated in the
that
whole.
was so much fun.
Yeah,
2008 and 2012,
yeah,
both. And
yeah, both.
2012, I remember our neighbors. Remember those Harold and Peggy?
Yeah, yeah.
Peggy. And oh, they hated him. They hated Obama.
And in 2008, we were in an apartment complex, and we had black neighbors, and we celebrated
We
with them.
celebrated
Yeah,
Obama.
we
It was
drank
a big
whiskey on
party.
the street.
Yeah. Oh man, those are
That's
fun
the
times.
suburbs and the inner city dynamic right there. Yeah.
Yeah, inner city, and
Okay.
also before Arohi and after Arohi
Yeah,
dynamics.
that's right. So yeah, that's an aside. But coming back to this is where I think Kenny's government is trying to balance between the economic activity and the healthcare system. So
So you're
most
you're you're okay with what Kenny is doing?
I can't really comment. I'm glad I'm not making any of those tough choices. But what
Yeah.
I'm trying to, what I can't really say whether he's doing good or bad. I don't have any data. But what I'm trying to come up with is trying to see where he's drawing his policy guidance from. So
Mm-hmm.
there is this the policy guidance. What I'm trying to see is they're trying to. So there is a an economic system which I forgot who came up with. They said that it has to be in tune with your hospital capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to tune your COVID response with your hospital capacity, and Germany did that quite well. So in Europe compared to Italy, when you remember in February or March before it came to Canada, Italy was suffering very badly, and then it's like, and Germany did quite well. Not quite well in the sense that ICU
Mm-hmm.
admissions and all of that. So the reason was the ICU beds per 100,000 people
Mm-hmm.
was a huge difference between Germany and Italy. In Germany,
Mm-hmm.
there was twice more ICU beds than per 100,000 people than Italy. So that's why, and Germany was able to use that parameter to tune their COVID response on the economy and everything. So I think Kenny's government wants to do the same too. So and he said something about the number of infections per 100,000 people. That's the metric he wants to use. There was another metric called reproducibility factor, R factor. So R factor is how many people does one COVID positive person do. So it's
Spread to.
if it's more than one, it's a
Mhm.
bad thing, and it's less. Everyone tries to be as close to zero as possible. But
Mhm.
anything more than one, at some point in India, it was more than two. But we don't know about what happened in India. So, but here, what he wants to use is he said that more than 50 people infected for 100,000 people or something. That was the metric he was trying to do, and that metric he crossed that metric, and so he put the lockdown effect here. So, but the whole
So
idea is,
is he trying to follow Germany?
yeah, he's there are many various things they are trying to come up with, but the big thing they are trying to follow is use your hospitalizations as a metric to tune your response to your lockdown responses. So they have figured
You're
that
trying to make so basically you're trying to make the business people.
yeah,
I'm not going to use the word happy. So you're making sure that business doesn't
your
suffer,
economy doesn't
your
collapse. So
economy
once you
doesn't collapse,
yeah,
and your health
healthcare
doesn't
system
suffer,
is
your
not
healthcare system doesn't
overwhelmed.
suffer
So it's
either.
a very tight rope to walk, and it's like everyone can say that people. Yeah, it's like if, imagine someone in your family is immunocompromised, or someone who is you have a someone who is really worried about their health, and someone is on a wait list for a heart operation, and I know someone that whose heart operation is getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and you are on that case, and you are saying that you are making me a sacrificial lamb for an economy. And
Hmm.
imagine I was in southern Alberta, and I met a bartender, a single mom bartender, who whose job was whose main economy, the reason she was feeding her elderly mother and two children, is working in a bar, and they had lot of oil people or people traveling people come, and that's how she supported. Now she's saying that there is no one in her place, and she's suffering. And
Hmm. So I
so
think the response would differ for person to person in the entire province. I know a lot of small business people who are really upset, who are really going to get hit even in the
yeah,
upcoming lockdown, like when
yeah,
the
and
especially women who are running salons out of their home,
exactly.
they're going to get impacted, they're going to get hurt. So it's easier for us to just sit here and make a judgment call that Kenny should do this or Kenny should do that, or the government should do this or government should do that. So that's why I always say, when people ask me, what do you think of his decisions, they may not work for me, they may work for me, but I really do not envy the position that he is in right
Exactly.
now. I
That's what
do not envy the position.
I always say that I'm glad I'm not making these decisions.
Yeah, no, it's not easy, because if there are three people who are suffering in the healthcare system, there's three people who might be suffering because of the lockdown, and they will not get food on their table, and
Yeah.
it's it,
And they can say that do what Australia did. Why don't you keep giving people money, just distributing money for like every so and
Trudeau
then
did that too.
huh?
Trudeau did that.
Yeah, Trudeau did that, but what would it do to our economy? No one really knows. Like that's like no. So there is this big conspiracy which conservatives are saying that Trudeau has signed up for some globalist reset or something. So there is this economy, there is going to be huge changes, and no one really knows how, as a society or as an economy or as a nation or even as a family, we are going to respond to such a big upheaval. uh, so I really don't know what could be the best way to go about it. And so this is once we have Australia and their economy, no one is seems to be very happy there. Like at least they're watching cricket. But if you're coming here, we are not able to take our daughter to gymnastics or take our to go to hockey practice. So it is they are going to be.
Well, it's quite possible that if everything was shut down for a very long period, maybe there will be no small business. Maybe there will be no gymnastics. Maybe there will be no sport. So I don't know. Like,
Okay, then there is this question of 28 days. It didn't work in Australia.
mhm.
28 days is 4 weeks. Didn't work in Australia. They had to go to 6 weeks, and they had to go to 8 weeks.
So it was 2 months.
It was 2 months, 2 months of rigorous, very rigorous lockdown. So how long? So people say that, oh, let's have a lockdown, let's have a 2 week circuit breaker. There is no 2 week circuit breaker, because the viruses. So the whole idea is 14 days is what it takes for the virus to die off in a human host, and so let's make it double, 28 days. But the problem is the the incubation time virus changes. There are some reservoirs where the virus can survive for a longer time. So there are all these things. In Australia, they couldn't kick it out in 6 weeks. They had to go, no, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and 8 weeks. So 2 months of severe lockdown. So will small businesses survive for 2 months on government subsistence? Don't know. That's what happened in Australia, and it doesn't look like a lot of. It's not a good story, at least now. Maybe by end of summer, maybe there will be something.
I think I agree with what Amir is saying. That world economy
Mhm.
is going to change
Oh yeah, that's a big understatement. there
regardless.
is there is going to be a huge upheaval. Like we really don't know what would be the whole global supply chain has almost been changed. Like the big supply, the only thing the world is trading is PPEs. That's what masks, medical. But at some point, there would be need for like a lot of things need to happen, lot of needs to change, and we really and the governments again, I go back to printing money. So if you and Biden says that he will start going on to the subsistence. He said that the next 100 days he will go down the most likely he looks like he will go down the path of Australia. I don't really know. America is not doesn't is a very libertarian country, but let's wait for and see what Biden's response would be. So then how the dollar behaves. The whole world is pegged onto dollar, how the dollar behaves. And the whole
Mhm.
big unknown here is China. No one really knows what happens in China. What how did they control their epidemic? What is their
If it is controlled.
yeah, we really don't know. That's why I didn't talk about China, is because it's the country is so shut down. We don't have any data, but Australia is quite open. So we really don't know what's going to happen. But there is going to be a huge upheaval, and hopefully, and the thing is, we have a end in sight, at least in health crisis. So
Mhm.
hopefully, the world will be by 2020, end of 2021. Hopefully we will at least 60% of us will get vaccinated.
I hope so. Well, things are changing rapidly here in Canada as well. Vaccines are coming, and hopefully we will be. I think they're starting
Mm,
vaccinated in December as
yeah,
opposed to January. That was announced earlier, so that's changed. I don't know how many new cases there were today. Did you see?
yeah, around 1,400 or 1,500.
So the numbers are kind of going down, like from
Yeah,
1,800. So they haven't really gone up. So maybe the restrictions that were announced a couple of weeks ago, maybe they are helping, and hopefully the ones that they're announcing, well, they're starting on November 13th now. Hopefully that'll help. And but it's going to be a very lonely Christmas for so many
yeah,
families. It's
yeah,
hard to
especially for
think,
kids. Yeah,
especially for kids, especially for seniors, parents. I know my dad called me yesterday and he's like, they're giving out tickets or if they see someone's car who doesn't live in that house, if they see their car in the driveway,
yeah,
they're giving out tickets. So my dad was really worried about that we shouldn't be going over to their house. I'm like, but it's kind of, I feel, I don't know, I feel terrible for our daughter, terrible
yeah.
for our family, terrible for many families who are going to be struggling for the next 2, 3 weeks. But it is what it is. It is what we got to do. All right, there's a lot of ambiguity there. Right now, the need of the hour is global cooperation, irrespective of all differences
That
becoming
that yeah,
economic
but
upheaval.
that's not going to happen. That's
We're
China
not
and
going to
America.
cooperate.
No, they're already countries trying to like Britain is this is not the right time to do Brexit, but Britain is going ahead with Brexit, and India and China would be a big. But India and China are not going to cooperate. America and China, there is a trade war looming, and nothing that's not going to change. There is no going global cooperation. And why should there be? China will not cooperate. China has global ambitions for a superpower, so they would not cooperate with the with America and other countries to they will try to impose their superiority, and which they should. So
So we're up for long years up ahead, next few
mm,
years.
yeah, hopefully we will. Humans always figure a way out. So hopefully we will come up with some sort of a some sort of a path ahead. See where we can see. I hope there are better coalitions. So NATO came out of World War II, and which really boosted our economy, which really boosted our technology and everything. So maybe after this, there is some other sort of a coalition of democracies or something, so that we could
So
improve
there
our.
is hope, Pavan. There is hope. Where's
Yeah,
my,
there is hope. Yeah, I see hope.
where's my banner? Hold up. Show. Please like this video if you have hope in Pavan.
Please vote for me.
Yeah, we'll see you. Like for Pavan. But it was really nice having you here again.
Oh, there he is.
Thanks, Ali. Oh yeah, I didn't mention Ali Nizami behind the scenes helping us out. Thank you so much, Ali. Always lovely to have you around. All right, so thank you so much again for being here, and we'll talk about something else next time. Do you want to say goodbye in Urdu?
um,
And
Khuda Hafiz.
before
Khuda
you go,
Hafiz.
Thank you. Thank you to all the viewers. Amir, right now, I can't see who is viewing right now, but thank you so much for sticking with us and listening to us chat. All
सब
right.
खवाती हजरात के लिए मेरे दिल
हिलना
से
बंद करो
शुक्रिया।
पहले तो एक हाँ
खवाती हजरात लाइक लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, खवातीन और हजरात
खवातीन
के
हजरात हाँ
खवातीन हजरात को मेरे दिल से शुक्रिया,
I
आदाब।
I isn't this yeah it is Dil
या, या,
आप
या।
आपसे खवातीन हजरात को नाजरीन
नाजरीन और दर्शक लाइक व्यूअर्स,
या
सब नाजरीन
नाजरीन
को
आप सबको
खुदा हाफिज।
खुदा हाफिज. All right. Thank you so much. And we will be back. We will be back next Thursday again at 5:15, hopefully. If not, we're late by 5-10 minutes. Hey, अपना घर का मामला है, घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर. So it's all good. We'll be
अगले हफ्ते इसी निशिस्त में आपसे फिर मुलाकात होगी इंशाल्लाह।
ओए अगले हफ्ते क्या?
अगले हफ्ते इसी निशिस्त में फिर आपसे
निशित?
मुलाकात। सिटिंग।
I don't know if it's right or wrong. I'll find out later. But yeah, अगले हफ्ते इसी
निशिस्त में,
episode. हाँ?
निशिस्त में।
निशिस्त अगले हफ्ते इसी निशिस्त में आपसे मुलाकात होगी 5:15 पवन के साथ. And if you have any topics, if you would like to talk about,
Yeah,
like
that would be
us to
cool.
talk about some topics, please recommend.
I think we have cooked the economics really.
I think we need to go out of economics and science and technology and money
Yeah.
next time. Maybe we'll talk movies.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe we'll talk Star Trek.
Yeah, that would be good. We talk Mandalorian.
Yeah, sure.
Economics of Mandalorian.
Oh,
Oh, no, differences between Star Wars and Star Trek.
Okay, we can talk about that. All right, Sat Sri Akal, Namaskar, Adab. It was lovely seeing you all, and we will be back. Well, I will be back tomorrow at 5:15. Pavan will be back next Thursday at 5:15. Until then, please like our page, TC San Facebook page, follow it, get your friends to like it, get your friends to follow it, and smash that subscribe button on YouTube. And of course, go on Instagram as well at TC San2. Do hit follow. We are still, of course, in baby stages. We're crawling. We're in the toddler, not even the toddler stage yet. We're still in the baby stage. We're still trying to work things out, better our quality. And by the time this COVID goes away, we will be ready to rock and roll Calgary. All right. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.